Здравствуйте, товарищи. And in this video, I want to make a big official welcome to a new ally in the fight I've been undertaking for years now. You might be confused as to what I'm talking about, but let me take a second here and fill you in. For years now, I've been fighting for the equal treatment of goblins, orcs, trolls, and other downtrodden high fantasy creatures, or as I like to more appropriately refer to them as, the high fantasy pre-humanoid beings of color community, or the HFPHBOC community for short. Although I'm sure not many of you have heard the term HFPHBOC community before, so I'm just going to stick to, for simplicity's sake, their ableist terms such as goblin, orc, uric, troll, or whatever other label people have given them, even though it pains me deep in my soul to do so. Before I continue, let me show you some of the work I have done over the years to promote equal rights for this community. When I saw the first Hobbit movie, I was extremely offended by its depiction of goblins. In fact, after I came back from the theater, I took to Facebook, the most just and pure method of fighting for equal rights that has ever been devised by humanity, to post this. Just came back from watching The Hobbit, and I was very offended by their racist interpretation of goblins, portraying them as incompetent, stupid, and lazy. If you're a goblin, I encourage you to phone your elected representative and complain about this movie. You deserve better. As you can see, there was an enormous amount of outpouring for this sentiment. People rallied to the goblin cause in droves like I'd never seen. Some claiming that they too were offended by the movie, able to trace their roots back to deep goblin heritage. But that's not all. In May of this year, I shared an awareness campaign. It is called Necrogoblin, No One Survives. And in this campaign, it shows you the turmoil that everyday goblins have to deal with. I wrote at the time when I shared this with everyone, just an ordinary goblin trying to make it in a messed up world. This video demonstrates just how deeply goblinist our society is, and you should really check your non-goblin privilege before you comment about it. Goblin abuse trigger warning. But the great thing about this video is that it really demonstrates the kind of hardships that goblins have to endure on an everyday basis. It shows the ridicule they get from their peers. It shows the unequal pay they make to their non-goblin counterparts. It even shows the forced segregation that goblins have to go through, as they are not welcome at the same bars and establishments as the rest of us. Just let me read to you one of the goblin laments from the video, and tell me that this doesn't pluck at the very deepest heartstrings in your soul. In the time before goblins came, we had only ourselves to blame for the problems in our lives, spiraling downwards towards our demise. We used to laugh, we used to cry, now the only thing we do is die. Slowly, in the winter light, no goblin survives tonight. And now, recently, a new obstacle has emerged in the goal towards goblin, troll, orc, etc. equality, and that is the Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. This game is so offensive to all pre-humanoid high fantasy creatures, it just makes me want to vomit. Unfortunately, I wasn't alone in noticing the moral reprehensiveness of this video game and its treatments of all orc kind. Recently, a website called The Verge pointed out Shadow of Mordor's moral failings and the abusive underpinnings of the game. The article opens up with the author talking about the brutal, horrible, and malicious things you have to do to these orcs and urics. Fortunately, though, he checks his non-uric/goblin/orc privilege and comes to the realization that what he's doing is wrong. The article continues to this point, and I quote, "Stalking, torturing, terrorizing, and assassinating Orcs is cruel and malicious, and the game sometimes acknowledges as much, calling your actions into question with bits of dialogue. But all internal criticism feels superficial alongside the literally dozens of hours I spent instilling fear into the hearts of my enemies with my sword and bow. And, to be clear, you torture in this game. You have the option to beat an enemy within the inch of his life, and only at that point will he reveal his information or switch loyalties out of fear. That is torture. Now we continue to the really damning paragraph of the article. The concept of this game is shocking when you think about what's actually happening. As an ultra-powerful white dude, you use fear and extreme acts of violence to manipulate an enemy's behavior, destroy its militaristic structure, and ultimately gain control of it in the form of living bondage, despite being outnumbered by the thousands. Really, chew on this. This is a video game about a spurned man terrorizing an entire foreign culture, literally killing, branding, torturing, and enslaving hundreds of living beings. And really, they're only tangentially connected to the man's real enemy, another ultra-powerful white dude. All to that I can say is amen, brother. I'm glad someone had the guts to call out the Ranger Talion and let him know that one simply does not just check their privilege into Mordor. I mean, think about how powerful that is. A man literally exterminating an entire culture, even though he's not literally doing it because it's a video game. Just think about that beautiful orc culture being snuffed out blow by blow. This is a culture based on extreme diversity, absolute tolerance, peace, love, and understanding. I mean, if you met an orc, you would know just how loving they can truly be. And it would be an extreme tragedy to watch this enlightened culture be snuffed out with the blow of a ranger's blade. I mean, if only the humans, elves, dwarves, and other species of Middle-earth sought to seek the high road and really seek to understand and live in harmony with the orcs of Mordor and other spots of Middle-earth. If only they had taken the time to negotiate with the Dark Lord, a term that's so racist, I'm not even going to get into it right now. I'm sure that would have been only beneficial for the so-called civilized species of Middle-earth. And I know that some people will come and say, well, all Urks care about is killing. That's all they're bred to do. The Dark Lord is just some insatiable, unquenchable evil that will spread all over Middle-earth and kill everything that is good and beautiful. And to those people, I have only one thing to say. Check your privilege. So the next time you think about chopping off an Urk's head, just take a while and remember that that Urk was once somebody's egg in a spawning pool, and that should hopefully bring you closer to understanding his situation. And with that, we've come to the end of this video. But before I go, I want to encourage you all to spread as much awareness as you can about the plight for equal rights among the HFPHBOC community, because nobody needs it more than them. Spread this message around, and hopefully we can finally get some good done for the low-class members of high fantasy society. Thank you guys for watching, and good night. Just an ordinary goblin trying to make it in a messed up world. This video demonstrates just how deeply goblinist our society is, and you should really check your non-goblin privilege. Oh man, I crack myself up.